Hi guys, so today I'm going to be sharing with you how to draft and cut this beautiful 8 pieces blouse with a high-low flare and a yoke. It is very simple and detailed. If this looks like what you really wish to learn, please watch this video till the end. I'm going to be drafting the front block of the blouse first, and I've gone ahead to draw the shoulder line. Next, I'll go ahead to insert the vertical measurement, which is the shoulder to the bust point. I'm working with shoulder to bust point of 10.5 inch. After marking that, I'll go ahead to insert the shoulder to the under bust, which is 14 inch. Next, I'll insert the shoulder to the waist, which is 17 inch. After which, I'll go ahead to mark the blouse length. So I'm working with the blouse length 26 inch. I'll go ahead to mark that also, after which I'll draw straight horizontal line with my ruler like this. The next I'm going to go ahead to quickly do now is to insert my shoulder measurement on the shoulder line. So I'll go ahead to insert my shoulder divided by 2 and mark. After marking that, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope and mark that also. Then from that point I just marked, I'll insert the armhole depth of 8 inch. After that, I'll go ahead to draw the armhole depth line with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. After which, I'll go ahead to mark the chest line also. So I'll go ahead to label this part as the chest line. Next, I'll be drawing the armhole for the front, and in doing that, I'll divide my armhole depth line into 2 and mark. After marking it, at the point I just marked, I'll come in by 0.5 inch and mark also. Then on the chest line, I'll go ahead to insert my bust measurement divided by 4 and I'll go ahead to mark that also. After which, I'll draw the armhole curve with my ruler like this. Next, I'll go ahead to draw the neckline. So for the neckline, I'm going to be working with a neck width of 3.5 inch and a neck depth of 4 inch. After marking that, I'll go ahead to draw a simple round neck with my ruler like this, after which I'll go ahead to draw the shoulder slope. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to tighten the under bust, and in doing that, the first thing I'll go ahead to do is to mark half of my bust pan measurement, which is 3.75. So I'm going to go ahead to mark it on the bust point line, on the under bust line, on the waistline, and also on the blouse length line, after which I'll go ahead to connect the point together with a straight line. Next, I'm going to go ahead to take out the dart. For the dart, I'll be using 2 inch as my dart. I'll go ahead to mark 1 inch on both sides of the under bust line, and I'll repeat the same thing on both sides of the waistline. So if I busty type, you can go ahead to use 2.5 inch and mark 1.25 inch on both sides. So after marking it, I'll go ahead to connect my under bust to the waistline with a straight line like you see me doing in the video. So next, I'll move over to the blouse length line, and I'll be coming up by 2.5 inch from the blouse length line and mark. After marking that, I'll go ahead to connect my waistline to the point I just marked with my ruler like this. So next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the under bust curve, and in doing that, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch from the bust point and mark. After marking that, I'll connect that point to the under bust using the curved part of my ruler like this. So here I am done with the underbust tightening. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to move over to the armhole to take out the armhole dart. And in doing that, I'll go ahead to measure what I have on my armhole like this. And what I have here is 9 inch. I'll divide that by 2 and mark. After marking that, I'll go ahead to connect this point I just marked to the bust point using my ruler like this. So after connecting it, I'm going to go ahead to come down by 1 inch from the point I marked. This is going to be serving as the dart for the armhole. Then I'll connect that 1 inch to the bust point again with a straight line like this. So once I'm done doing this, the next I'm going to go ahead to quickly do now is to replace this 1 inch that I took on the side, because if you should leave it like this, you'll be having some shortage when joining the center panel to the side. So I'll go ahead to mark 1 inch upward like this and mark. Then I'll extend the line upward like this, after which I'll go ahead to draw the new armhole for the blouse I'm going to be making. So this other one is no longer relevant to be working with the new one we have at this point. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to blend this bust area to eliminate every sharp edge on that point like you see me doing in the video. So after blending, next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the yoke. And in doing that, first I'll go ahead to determine how deep I want the yoke to be. So for me, I'll go ahead to come down from the shoulder line by 7 inch. You can mark 8 inch depending on how much cleavage you are willing to show. Next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the sweetheart neckline like you see me doing in the video. So I'm going to go ahead to use my ruler to draw it, after which I'll go ahead to use my hand to blend it like you see me doing in the video. So this is what the yoke is going to look like. Next, I'm going to go ahead to insert my body circumference measurement. So on the chest line, I'll insert my bust measurement divided by 4 and mark. Then I'll measure what I have on that area and replace it on the side. Next, I'll move over to the waistline and I'll also go ahead to mark my waist measurement divided by 4. So I want the waist to be a little bit fitted. So what I went ahead to do was to minus 1 inch from my actual waist measurement. So my waist measurement is 30 inch. I minus 1 inch and I worked with 29 inch. So I went ahead to divide the 29 inch into 4. And what I got was 7.25. So I'll go ahead to mark that, after which I'll measure what I have on that area and also replace it on the side. Next, I'll move over to the hip line and I'll go ahead to insert my hip measurement divided by 4 on the hip line and mark. After doing that, I'll go ahead to connect the sides together with my ruler like this. After connecting the side, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to mark my seam allowance of 1.5 inch on the chest line, on the waistline and also on the blouse length line, after which I'll connect the sides together again. Next, I'm going to go ahead to take out the bust dart. So the bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist for your front and your shoulder to waist for the back. So in my case is 1.5 inch. So I'll go ahead to come down by 1.5 inch from the bust point and mark. After marking that, I'll connect that point to the bust point line with a straight line like you see me doing in the video. So this is what your bust dart is going to look like. This bust dart is going to make the front and the back blouse length to be equal. So basically we are done with the front block of the 8 pieces blouse. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out, but before cutting, make sure you close up your dart and blend the sides. So after cutting, this is what it is going to look like once you're done cutting it out. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach flay to each of the panel, because I'm making an 8 pieces blouse and each of the panel is supposed to have a flay attached to it. So I'm going to be starting with the center block of the blouse, and here I have an extra paper that I'll be using for that. So you go ahead to place your pattern on it, making sure that you have enough space on both sides to accommodate the amount of flay you'll be attaching to each panel. So in my case, I'm going to be working with 4 inch. And also when placing your pattern on the extra paper, make sure that you start from the waistline. So I'm going to go ahead to keep my pattern in place with my sellotape like you see me doing in the video. After doing this, the next thing you're going to go ahead to do now is to work on the center front of the blouse. So the blouse we're trying to illustrate has a longer front, and in achieving that, what you're going to go ahead to do is to come to this point and come down by 5 inch, or if you want it longer, you can mark your desired length, but I'll be working with 5 inch. After marking the 5 inch, the next I'm going to go ahead to do is to draw a straight vertical line with my ruler like this. After doing this, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to go to my actual blouse length at this point, and I'll draw a straight horizontal line like you see me doing in the video. And also at this point, I'll also be drawing a straight horizontal line at this point also. After drawing the horizontal line, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to mark the flay I will be attaching to the blouse. So I'll be working with 4 inch. I'll go ahead to mark the 4 inch like this. After doing that, I'll connect my waist to the 4 inch I just marked with my ruler like this. Next, I'll move over to this side and I'll also go ahead to mark 4 inch on the side like this. Then I'll connect that point to the waist with a straight line, also like you see me doing in the video. After doing this, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to connect this point to this point with a straight line like this. So once you're done connecting, this is what you are going to be having. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. So this is what the center front is going to look like. Next, you're going to move over to the side block of the bustier and you're going to be repeating the same process. So first, I'm going to go ahead to place it on my pattern paper like this, making sure that it starts from the waistline, after which I'll go ahead to keep it in place with my masking tape like you see me doing in the video. So for the side block, we'll not be extending the length of the side. All we'll be doing here is to attach the flay to the side, and in doing that I'll go ahead to extend my hemline with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. After extending it, I'll go ahead to mark 4 inch for the flay like this. Then I'll go ahead to connect the waist to the point I just marked with a straight line like you see me doing in the video, and I'm going to go ahead to repeat the same thing on the other side also. On the other side, I'll also go ahead to mark 4 inch like this. Then I'll connect that point to the waistline using a straight line like this, after which I'll go ahead to cut it out. So after cutting, this is what the center and the side block is going to look like. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to work on this part to eliminate every sharp edge on the blouse, because the blouse we're trying to illustrate does not have any sharp edge. And in doing that, you're going to go ahead to place your pattern paper like this. So we're trying to eliminate this sharp edge you have at this point. So you go ahead to place it like this, making sure that the waistline are meeting. After placing it like this, you're going to go ahead to keep it in place with your masking tape or with your cello tape like you see me doing in the video. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to eliminate the sharp edge I have at this point. And in doing that, I'll place the curved part of my ruler like you see me doing in the video. Then I'll go ahead to mark it, making sure that I have a curve at that point. So you place the curved part of your ruler on it like this. Then you go ahead to draw a curve from one side of the panel to the other side of the panel like you see me doing in the video. So after doing that, this is what you're going to be having. The next thing you're going to go ahead to do now is to cut out that part. So after cutting it out, this is what you are going to be having. As you can see, we are having a curve on that part. We've eliminated the sharp edge we have at that point. So once you're done working with this place, the next you're going to go ahead to do now is to also work on the side. So you go ahead to place the curved part of your ruler on the side like this, and also draw a curve to eliminate the sharp edge on this side. And you can also do that by going up by 1 inch from the side and mark. After marking the 1 inch, you go ahead to connect it to the hem of the blouse like this, after which you can go ahead to cut it out. So basically, this is what the hem should look like. There should be no sharp edge at any point except for the front, which is longer. This is what you should have. The next we are going to go ahead to do now is to draw out the border for the blouse we are making. So the style we are trying to illustrate has an attachment on the hem of the blouse, so this is totally optional. If you don't want it, you can simply go ahead to skip this part. So you go ahead to still keep your pattern paper the way it is, making sure that the waist part is aligning. Then you go ahead to mark 2 inch all the way around for the border like you see me doing in the video. So you're going to go ahead to mark 2 inch all the way around, after which you connect the point together. So here we have the border drawn out. So this border is going to be another piece of fabric. So when cutting your fabric, the first thing you're going to go ahead to do is to cut out your lining using the full pattern like this. After cutting out the lining, then you're going to go ahead to either fold in the border or you cut it out. Then you go ahead to cut your fabric on this part. Then this part is going to be whatever piece of fabric you want to attach to the blouse. So this is totally optional. If you want to make the blouse completely Ankara, you can simply do that. But if you want to attach the piece of fabric that was attached to the hem of the blouse, this is the way to go about it. And you'll also be repeating the same thing for the other side. And also, after cutting it out, don't forget to add your sewing allowance to both the border and also to the upper part of the Ankara. And also, when cutting out your fabric, you're going to be cutting out 2 pieces for the center front and you'll be cutting out 2 pieces for the side front. So when you add this up, you're going to be having 4 pieces for the front. Then the remaining 4 pieces is going to be for the back block of the blouse you're making. And also, don't forget to add your sewing allowance of 0.5 inch all the way around, except for the side. You will be adding allowance of 0.5 inch all the way around when cutting on your fabric. So we are done with the front of the blouse. Now we're going to move over to drafting of the back block of the blouse. So for the back block, the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to mark my zipper allowance of 1.5 inch. I'm going to go ahead to mark the 1.5 inch all the way down, then I'll connect the points together with a straight line. Next, I'll go ahead to insert the shoulder measurement on the shoulder line. So I'll mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2 and I'll go ahead to insert that, after which I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope and mark. Then I'll insert my armhole depth line and mark that also. Then I'll go ahead to draw the armhole depth line with my ruler like this, after which I'll go ahead to draw the chest line. Once I'm done doing all this, the next I'm going to go ahead to do is to insert my vertical measurement. So I'll go ahead to insert my shoulder to waist for my back, which is 15.5. So that of my front is 17, but that of my back is 15.5. After marking that, I'm going to go ahead to bring the front block and I'll measure what I have from my waist to my actual blouse length. So what I have from my waist to my blouse length is 9 inch. I'll go ahead to mark the 9 inch from my waistline like this and I'll mark that. After doing that, I'll go ahead to draw straight horizontal line with my ruler like this. So next I'm going to move over to the neckline and I'll go ahead to mark a neck width of 3.5 inch and a neck depth of 1.5 inch for the back. After marking that, I'll go ahead to draw a simple round neckline with my ruler like this, after which I'll go ahead to draw the shoulder slope. Next, I'm going to go ahead to take out the dart for the back, and in doing that, I'll go ahead to mark half of my bust span measurement, which is 3.75. I'll mark it on the chest line, on the waistline, and also on the hemline. After marking it, I'll connect the points together with a straight line. Next, I'm going to go ahead to take out a dart of 1 inch. So I'll go ahead to mark 0.5 inch on both sides of the waist like this. Then I'll be coming up by 2.5 inch on the hemline, after which I'll go ahead to draw the dart like you see me doing in the video. Next, I'm going to go ahead to insert my body circumference measurement. On the chest line, I'll mark my bust measurement divided by 4 and mark. Then on the waistline, I'll insert my waist measurement divided by 4 and mark that. Then I'll mark 1 inch for the dart I took on the waistline. On the blouse length line, I'll go ahead to insert my hip measurement divided by 4 and I'll mark that also. Then I'll go ahead to connect the sides together with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. Next, I'm going to go ahead to mark 1.5 inch sewing allowance all the way down, after which I'll also go ahead to connect the point together. After connecting the side, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the armhole for the back block of the blouse I'm making. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the yoke, and in doing that I'm going to go ahead to come down by a 6.5 inch from the shoulder line and mark. So you can make the yoke as deep as you want, but for me I'll be working with 6.5 inch, after which I'll connect that point to the armhole with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. Next, I'll go ahead to draw a simple style line with my ruler to meet with the chest line like you see me doing in the video. So I'm not going to be taking out any darts on the back. I'll just go ahead to draw the style line with my ruler like this, after which I'll blend this part to eliminate the sharp edge I have on that point like this. So basically this is what the yoke is going to look like, and here we have the back block of the blouse. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to eliminate the zipper bulge on the back, and in doing that I'll be going in by 0.5 inch on the waistline and I'll go ahead to mark that. And also at this point I'll just go ahead to extend the waistline down to this point. Then I'll also be going in by 0.5 inch from the center back and mark. After marking it, I'll go ahead to connect it to the chest line with my ruler like you see me doing in the video, and I'll be doing that for both sides like this. Then I'll go ahead to connect it downward by at least 5 inch like you see me doing in the video. So this is going to help eliminate zipper bulge after the dress is being worn, because the back is not straight. So this is what the new zipper allowance is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to quickly do now is to cut it out. And when cutting, I'm going to be cutting out the zipper allowance on the yoke area because the zipper will not reach that point. So I'm just going to go ahead to draw a simple curve at that point like you see me doing in the video. After which I'll go ahead to cut the back block of the blouse I'm making like you see me doing in the video. So after cutting, this is what the back block is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach the panel like I did for the front, and I'll be starting with the center back. So I'm going to go ahead to place the pattern on my extra paper like this, making sure that it starts from the waistline. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead to secure the pattern to the extra paper with my cello tape like you see me doing in the video. After keeping it in place, next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to extend the blouse length like I did for the front. So I'm going to go ahead to mark that. After marking it, I'm going to go ahead to draw a straight vertical line with my ruler like this. So I'm going to go ahead to be adding an extra paper to this part because the space I have there will not be enough to accommodate the flare I'll be attaching to this part of the blouse. So after adding the extra paper, the next I'm going to go ahead to quickly do now is to draw a straight horizontal line at this point like this. Then I'll go ahead to mark out the flare of 4 inch like I did for the front. Next, I'll connect the waist to that point with a straight line like you see me doing in the video. After doing this, I'll move over to the other side and I'll draw a straight horizontal line on the actual blouse length like this. Then I'll go ahead to mark 4 inch for the flare I'll be attaching to the blouse, after which I'll connect that point to the waist using a straight line like this. Next, I'll go ahead to connect this point to this point using a straight line like this. So this is what the center back is going to look like. So your new zipper allowance is going to be from this point. So I'm just going to go ahead to mark out the new zipper allowance. So I'm marking 1.5 inch all the way down like you see me doing in the video. After marking it, I'll go ahead to connect the point together. So when fixing your zip, this is what it is going to look like on the back block of the blouse. So this is what the center back is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. So this is what the center back is going to look like. Next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to work on the side block of the back. So I'm going to go ahead to place my pattern on my paper like this, after which I'll go ahead to keep it in place with my cello tape. Then I'll go ahead to extend the hem, attach the flare and connect it to the waist like you see me doing in the video. So this is what the side block of the back is going to look like, and here we have the center back. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to eliminate the sharp edge I have at this point like I did for the front. So I'm going to go ahead to keep it in place like this, making sure that the waist of both the side and the center are meeting. Then I'll secure it with my seal tape, after which I'll go ahead to eliminate the sharp edge on the hem of the blouse like you see me doing in the video. So after eliminating the sharp edge, this is what it is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to also draw the border line for the back. So I'll go ahead to mark 2 inch all the way around, after which I'll connect the point together like this. So basically this is what the back block of the 8 pieces blouse is going to look like. So before you go ahead to start cutting your fabric, make sure you place the front and the back block together to make sure that the sides are aligning. So in my case, as you can see, there's a little lapses at this point, so I'm going to go ahead to trim it out with my scissors like you see me doing in the video. So make sure the side of both the front and the back are equal before you go ahead to start cutting out your fabric. And also when cutting out the back, you're going to be cutting out 2 pieces of both the center back and also the side back. And here we have the yoke of the blouse. So basically this is how to draft an 8 pieces blouse with a high-low flare and a yoke. So if you want me to make a tutorial on how to sew this blouse, kindly drop a comment in the comment section. And also you can watch other little tutorials on the channel by clicking on the videos on the screen. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next tutorial.